Starting and we're live. Hooray!
Hello.
Welcome to the Virtual Teacher Book Club Week 2. We are still reading. I love it when I do this because it's backwards, but whatever. And after 45 minutes of persistence and diligence and tenacity, Christine and Rebecca and I have done it.
Woohoo!
Yay!
So have either of you ever done a Google Hangout like this with more than one person?
No, this is my first time.
Okay, so what you'll notice, just to give you the lay of the land, is whoever's speaking, their picture will appear on your big screen, including your own picture. Stop if it's making you dizzy, especially if we start talking over one another, or if you only want to look at one person because you find them really attractive. I have no idea. You can click their face at the bottom, and that goes only on them. So I tend to, on this end, because I'm sort of like producing it, that's what I tend to do, so that if someone coughs, it's not, we're looking at Christine and then now we're looking at Rebecca and her coughing fit. So that's how I do it, but process of it, the flipping back and forth, if you don't mind the dizziness, is pretty cool.
Awesome.
That's how it goes. So you just saw, see? Christine just went, awesome, and there she was. So I haven't heard back from Dave whether he's going to pop in this week or not. I know I was voxing with him last night that he was on the road, so I don't know. And we didn't bring up that I was actually trying to get him to give me free books for an ed tech camp that we're running in York Region. He said yes. So yeah, he's so great. He is just so great. I don't know if he's going to pop in. Sometimes he just does, and then he does it. And I don't know if you guys watched last week's, but like what you see is what you get. What you read, he was totally all that energy with like 3 of us sitting here watching him. It was amazing. So
how many people did you get last week, just out of curiosity?
Started out with me talking to myself like a crazy person. I was like, so it's just me. I was supposed to have 4, including myself. And then only one who I wasn't expecting showed up. So another York Region person. And she showed up. So we chatted for a bit. Then Dave came in. And then I tweeted out the link. Said, hey, anyone want to join? We're talking TLAP. And randomly, we got this woman, Susan, who's not part of the book club at all, from Houston. So she just saw the link. She just finished reading TLAP. And thought, wouldn't this be fun? I wonder what this is. And had no idea she was going to Google Hangout. She said she got in. It was like her face and Dave Burgess beside her. And she was like, whoa. So if you turn off your camera, I'll show you what happens. If you turn off your camera, it just goes to your avatar.
Right.
Because she was sort of very much like you, Christine, sort of like lounging on the couch, hair up in a pony. Like,
that's right, man.
Yeah. And we're not rocking like school stuff like Rebecca is. But we... yeah, so she came in, which was really cool. So she talked about it, and then we connected on Twitter. So that was certainly a conversation that we would have never had. And she, because she'd read it, gave us a preview on her favorite hooks and what she's done in her class. And it was really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's that. Anyway. Okay. So before we begin, Rebecca, do you want to tell us how's Friday school? Are we going to have a good day tomorrow, or is it like...
It's Friday. Yeah, the weather's good.
Good.
Bit crazy busy, but yeah. The future is good.
There we go.
I'm just happy we're hitting Friday, right?
Right.
Like,
and this Friday. So we start spring break in our region. Yeah. So we're off for a week next week, which is it's just nice, right? That change of pace. So do you guys have spring break the same way that we do here in North America?
I don't think so. 4 terms a year. So we usually run 4 10-week terms with 2 weeks off in between, and then the big summer holidays for Christmas. So we're
kind of a cool system.
7 right now.
Of how many did you say again?
Pardon?
How many weeks total were there?
Pardon?
Are there in each of your like quadmesters?
Like 10 weeks.
Oh, okay. So you're almost there.
Yeah, nearly there. But this one's an 11-week, and then next term's a 9, I think. So we're nearly there.
Very good. Okay, let's talk TLAP. What do you guys think?
Yay.
I liked the variety of hooks. I found it a little overwhelming, obviously. I mean, like, he gives you a lot to think about. And I think that for me, that it kind of speaks to the idea that you're going to pick the hooks, I think, where you feel that you have natural talents to begin with, right? Which is what we're hoping for our kids too, that any of those natural talents and inclinations are going to be, like we're able to get all those out of them, and it's only going to be with their comfort. But I guess like it's also the idea of like trying to push them out of their comfort zone and us out of our comfort zone. We're talking about hooking kids, so I don't know. I found it a little overwhelming, but a challenge kind of overwhelming. So
I wondered when I was reading it, because I was overwhelmed too. And I was like, oh my gosh, first of all, like, how have I ever engaged kids ever before? This guy's like off the chart.
yeah.
It made me, in my role as an instructional coach, reconsider the way that I do professional development. Like, how could I use these hooks for adult learners? And I went to a whole day today about adult learning, and they talked about buying in and being present, a lot about immersion. So that it reminded me a lot of the last section of the book. But I went through it, and I'm actually going to sketch note, I think, the second section of the favorite ones of mine that I was like, yeah, I can absolutely see myself using this, because it's just, it's something that, like you said, Christine, speaks to me.
Yeah.
So what is that noise? Is that a bird?
Crazy bed next to me.
Oh,
I thought it was a small child.
I did too. I was like, Christine, are your kids?
It's an
No, wait, man,
Australian
my kids were
raven.
asleep at like
And it
7:15 today. I was like,
Oh my God, it's an Australian.
I really did think it was.
It sounds like a baby. That's hilarious.
Sometimes you can't tell. But this one's definitely a bit.
Show us. Put your camera up to the sky, Rebecca.
He's like sitting in a tree over here.
Oh.
And I'll see if I can get close to him.
Okay, I'm gonna go on you. It totally sounds like a baby.
Is he there? I can't tell.
No, I don't see it. Looks pretty though. I'd like to leave.
Oh, it's this tree. Yeah. Oh, like sounds pretty evil.
And watch it come attack you, and then we catch it. Bird's gone wild.
There he is.
Oh,
You
there we
see him
go.
just up in this.
Oh
There we
yeah.
go.
Bloody.
My
So you
goodness.
just wanted a
think
moment.
It's the network slow. I don't know what's going on.
I
My
see it.
network's pretty bad.
I see it. That totally works.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus,
So anyway,
Yep.
I had a lot of them that did speak to me, and a lot that I've used. I'd be curious to see if, before I'd read this section, if I had sat down, and I would challenge anyone, because I'm posting this afterwards on Voice Ed Radio, which is a Canadian internet radio station for education. Like, I'll rip the audio. So I'd be curious to say, if anyone's going to read Teach Like a Pirate, before you get to part 2, sit down, give yourself 15 minutes and write down everything you do to hook students in that engagement, minds-on activity. How many of them do we do maybe without realizing it? Maybe not do it on your own, like do it with colleagues who might jog your memory, or do it with your students to see, because I think a lot of them, like I found a lot of this book, it's just like, yeah, like things that I knew but were very dormant in my brain.
I also think though that like a lot of times when we were trying to do, sorry, my internet got slow, so that's why I went in and out. But I think a lot of the times too that we forget that chunk of it. Like I know at the beginning when you go to teachers college, it's all very much about hooking the kids and engaging them and making sure that they're into what you're doing.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the line, like for me, this is year 10, you kind of forget that you have to do that. Because either, and I'd like to think positively and say either you just know to do it automatically, but I also think that a lot of times we just forget that that's even part of what it is that we need to plan for. So I don't know, or we get like lost in the, I guess, the rush of making sure we teach everything. So it's just like, look, this is what you got to know. Can you just know it? And just, can we move on? Right?
Yeah. Well, with the paperwork.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I got to do attendance. And oh, that kid's late. And anyway, sorry, Rebecca, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just so much content, so little time, and yeah, attendance, paperwork. And at the moment, I'm not in my classroom when the kids come to me. The school's so full, we don't have our own classroom, so we're constantly moving around. So I think I have maybe one class where I'm already in there. So setting stuff up is hard.
Yeah. I wondered that when Dave had like talked about blank slating, is that how he called it? His walls with these huge tarps. First of all, where does the money come from? Is my first question. Like, this obviously he's pulling a lot out of his pocket, as we do as teachers, right?
Yeah.
But where, like he must have the same class all day. Or even when he talks about going on the walkabouts and like in like forests or ravines or the paths near the school or campfires. The campfire at the school blew my mind. Christine, can you imagine
I know.
trying to have a campfire on school property in our district?
Yeah, there's no way. First of all, you can barely even have an open, like, campfire, not even campfire, like just an open flame in your backyard. You have to like pretend to have hot dogs. You have to call like the fire station like in advance to tell them that you're having this like open flame
I know.
in your personal backyards. Forget about it happening at a school. Do you know what I mean? I mean, like it only happens at like what, outdoor ed centers, maybe?
Yeah, like maybe if you went to like Bork or something,
or like
right?
Swan Lake or one of those
Swan
places.
Lake.
Yeah.
How about you guys? Do you guys have stringent rules, Rebecca, in Australia for things like that? Is that something you could do?
I can't imagine doing it. I would never even ask, I don't think.
Try it. New challenge. Which one of us can get a fire started with permission on school property? Innovate.
We have like barbecues, so does that count?
No, barbecue is different.
No way. Like this guy is just, like that's the thing. Like I appreciate his enthusiasm, but like as with everything, when you see someone doing something really awesome, my first question is like, I couldn't do it because of this. I couldn't do it because of that. Like, and you think about all the obstacles to doing it, but like, it's not that we're making up fake obstacles. Like, they really are obstacles to us actually doing some of the things that he's saying. And, you know, like some of the stuff when he talks about arts and crafts, of course we can do arts and crafts and stuff like that. But it's the more, I mean, and I think the arts and crafts would work for some age groups, but I can't imagine my grade 6 kids being like, woo, arts and crafts. I'm so hooked.
Something happens then because they shift back, Christine, because I've done that. I've had activities where I brought Play-Doh in to the 11th grade. And I'd be like, okay, we're going to build. And they're like, yes. And because I think when they get to secondary, all those hands-on things that are seen as kitschy in middle school years, they're like, oh, you're treating us like the babies. We're also like, oh, we want that play time back. Let us play because it's too much of now this, now this, now this, now that.
Right, and that's the other thing that I think that I struggle with also, sort of like I feel as elementary teachers, well, at least for me as an elementary teacher, I feel like we put in a lot of effort in trying to make sure that they're hooked and making sure that they're engaged, and then they go to high school, and then it's like it's gone, right? So like
not always, but in a lot of cases,
right. And so I always like wonder, like, is it kind of for naught a little bit? Do you know what I mean? Because I know we're engaging them, hopefully the deep learning is there, but a lot of things kind of go away once they get to high school. So I don't know.
Interesting. What do you think, Rebecca?
I don't know. Putting them in high school, they do get, because we have from year 7 to 12 here. So we have like primary then secondary, and the year 7s come in, they're all happy to do all the arty like play stuff that they've done in primary school, and then of course year 9 and 10 get too cool, and they want to be serious, and then they hit senior. So our girls hit senior school, which is right into their HSC, and they change uniforms, so they're very senior.
Right.
And then they get back to that one in that the time when it was nice. They get a bit rose tinted glasses on it. They're like, remember when things were easy?
We get that a lot.
And they do respond to it.
Yeah, we get that a lot with students coming back. Yeah, you told me when I go on to college or university it was going to be hard. And I thought you were just saying that to make me work harder, but it's actually really hard. I know, I'm not lying to you. Right, Christine, do you find that when they come back from grade 8? Like when they get to grade 9, they come back like, wow, it's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of them are really overwhelmed. And they said, I have to run from this place to that place. And it's sort of like, I don't know that we can do a better job. I'm trying to prepare them, but I guess it is what it is, right? It's always a steep learning curve anytime you change, right? So
yeah, I never thought about that, the running from place to place, because as much as you guys might have rotary, it would all be in the same hallway.
Pretty much.
It's not unusual for a kid to be running from like one corner of my high school to the second floor, the other corner, and then getting in trouble for being late.
Yeah, I remember being in grade 9 and being like, that first week, being like, I'm not going to make it back to my locker. What are the binders that I need? So like, just even having those kinds of like planning strategies, I guess, in their head is like something completely new to them.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, sorry, back to TLAP. So Christine, you said, what struck me with what you said was that you have, well, we can't do this for that. We can't, like, all those barriers. I think if Dave were here, he'd be like, no, those don't exist, because you can make things happen. So what is it that we can do that maybe we're not the Daves of the world? We're not going to live to the nth degree, not every day, because that's difficult. It's hard to sustain that. But what could we do or commit to in our practice too? Because I think there's a lot to be said for that engagement piece. Like
totally.
The whole time I was trying to get you guys onto the Hangout when the first 15 minutes wasn't working. I'm like, I've lost my class. This is exactly what he was talking about. Like, oh, and all of a sudden, the projector doesn't work. So what's happening? I was like, I should have put a picture of like a wrapped up box. You guys could have guessed what was in it while I was solving tech issues. So what can we do? What can we do? Because you're always going to have the resistance, right? You're always going to have, I was at PD today, and what did they call it? Hold on, let me open my sketchbook here because I was sketching about it. It's when you're implementing anything, it's called the implementation dip. And it's sort of like a straight line that goes up, and then you dip, and then it continues to rise up. And that dip is when you hit reluctance. Mm-hmm. And so that line has to be bridged, right? We need to see other people struggle and succeed.
Yeah.
So if we're going to be those mentor modelers, what do we do?
Like, I'm trying to think of it both from like a PD kind of point of view as well as like a kid point of view, right? Because to a certain extent, it's the same thing. It's all about learning, right? Yeah. And so, like, I think that it's great, especially for our boards, that we're trying to go. We're trying to think of PD in a different way, because it used to be like, here's the thing, here's what you got to do it, right? And so now I feel like there's kind of an approach now where they're trying to be like, well, where are you, and how do you best learn? And so in terms of Dave's hooks, I think that for me, I'm just going to make a more conscious effort to make sure that I am trying to be creative in the hook and making sure that the hook is there. I recently just went to an inquiry-based learning workshop in French immersion, because I teach in French immersion.
On peut parler en français.
Yeah, en français. It was awesome, actually, because all the resources were in French, which is awesome because you always have to translate stuff. But it was interesting because they were talking about how to come up with a really good inquiry question, and how a lot of the kids struggle because they don't have any context for history and geography. So one of the teachers actually came, and we talked a lot about provocations, which I think is basically just a fancy word for saying, like, what's that spark? And I think, and they gave us a whole bunch of different things that we could use to spark the conversation. They weren't nearly as creative as the ones that Dave outlines in the book, but just still the idea of making sure that we're putting that spark out there and that we're trying different ways of trying to engage them. I think that's, at least for the beginning, the best that we can do is to try to provoke that kind of interest in whatever it is that we're teaching, whether it's through, so they had talked about using a map, using shocking quotes, a picture book. They actually came up with an inquiry box with a whole bunch of different artifacts in it, and having the kids look at them and ask questions. So again, so if we can try at least that at the very least, I feel like is better than maybe what we are forgetting to do daily, maybe in the grind of everything that we do.
Kind of pick the more achievable ones first. Actually reading through some of the hooks, there were ones in there that I was like, oh, I did that.
Oh, which one?
I haven't done that yet. Also, we did World War One, and we got the kids to bring their table and chairs outside, and we had like a trench war.
Oh, awesome!
Outside. So that was really cool. They made like bombs and bullets from paper, and then after the whole screaming and oh my god, I'm dead, we'd started to like reflect on, well, you're scared of the paper. Imagine what it was really like. So that was really cool, but we didn't do it last year because we got rained off, and we were going to do it in class, like inside the room, and then just, you know how it gets. This happens, that happens. They're out on a field trip. Yeah, so we need to bring that one back.
That is a good one. I've done that before. I forget the context. We call it a snowball fight, just to get without the context of the World War One. Where you say, okay, everyone write an idea on a piece of paper, ball them all up, and throw them at each other. and then they land, everyone pick one up and read that. And for us, it was safety building, that instead of reading your own idea out loud that you might be embarrassed to share, someone else is going to read it because they pick it up and they, hey, this is a really good one. And they really want to share it, but they don't know who said it. So there's no making fun, and it's a really safe place. And I see a lot of these hooks allowing that. I think Dave's willingness to be vulnerable and his willingness to just put it all out on the table does create such a wonderful atmosphere of risk taking for students, and it does bring them together. Like when he talks about it's back, the Raven's back. When he talks about everyone meeting on Saturday and walking down to the sea, he told that story at length at the ditch. Matt Miller it was called the Ditch Summit, and it was basically interviews with different people, and he did through YouTube Live, and then he posted them for a day, and I sketch noted a bunch of them, and Dave's was so fascinating, and he talked about that, and these kids come and they touch the door, and then they walk together, and kids who normally wouldn't, and then they talk about that for years. And if I think back to lessons that I've done, it's always been really, really rich in content. But when I see my former students again, and I have students that, like, one of my best friends is a former student of mine, and he talks about certain things that we've done, and it never comes back to the actual lesson, but that delivery of that lesson. And then I'm like, you learned that. And he's like, oh yeah, we totally learned that, didn't we? So it's almost like you guys it, like learning can't be fun anymore. Like, oh, no, we're not learning because it's fun. So how does that happen? And how do we make them realize? I guess that would be my concern with any of these, like not getting caught up in the novelty of the hook and not letting the novelty of the hook run its course. Did you guys find that when you read it? I'd be like, okay, how many of these am I going to do before the kids are like, okay, yeah, whatever. And it's not a hook anymore. It's just what we do. And so it's not exciting.
And I think that's kind of my struggle with it too. It's sort of, there are some times where I'm like, you know what? Sometimes not everything is going to be awesome. I mean, like how much of the stuff that we do at work.
It's not the Lego movie.
No, it's not. Everything is not going to be awesome all the time, right? And I also I'm sometimes worried about the idea of it feeling like a horse and pony show, like where I have to like do all this crazy stuff in order for you to be engaged, right? And I think that like as much as we know them and as much as we try our best to engage them using whatever it is that they like, I worry that it's going to be like, and I get it, like teaching is work, but I mean, how much energy can I use in order to make sure that they're like, woo, this is awesome. Like, do you know what I mean? So,
and how many periods do you teach a day, Christine? Like what's an average day to you?
Well, this year is a little bit different for me because I'm half-time literacy coach and half-time English math. So it's not a regular teaching day, but next year I'm going to be teaching grade 1 again. So it's going to be out of
You're teaching, periods. Oh no, great. How grade 1 at, because right, that.
I'm switching, right? So
this is going live. I hope everyone knows that.
It's all done now.
Okay. My God, I can edit that out.
No, it's all good. So it'll probably be, if there's 8 periods, probably 7.
7 periods a day. How about you, Rebecca? How many do you teach in a day?
So I'm pretty much the same. I'm part in the library and part teaching load, but it's usually 6 or 7 periods out of 8.
Yeah. See, for you guys, I imagine it would be too much. Does Dave say what he taught? I can't remember.
I don't remember what he...
Social studies, wasn't
it? History, but I don't remember. See, in secondary, I'm teaching 3 times a day. So having 3 hooks, even if you don't do it every day, even 3 times a week, that's 9 things I need to prepare. That's essentially a day for you guys.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be able to say, not to start. I think it's like expecting to go out and run a marathon. Yeah. Right? So what do we commit to? I guess if I were in the classroom, right now, I can commit to, I'm going to use one of these hooks between now and the end of the year for every PD session I run. I'm going to do something like this. And in fact, I'm actually presenting at Connect, which is an EdTech summit or EdTech conference in Niagara Falls at the end of April. And we were working on the presentation. I said, well, when they come in, I don't want them just to be sitting there staring. What I was at today, they walked around the room and introduced themselves to everyone and said their name, because that's an Indigenous practice of once you say the name out loud, there's a kinship there, which I thought was really lovely. So I'm going to do that, but I said, but they're still just sitting there. I don't want people just checking emails because then that becomes the norm. So the presentation is about Google and doing hyperdocs. So we said, okay, one of the things in hyperdocs, if you guys haven't heard of them, Google it, it's amazing. I can talk to you about it. We should read that book is the one that we should read. And I'd invite those girls on. It's amazing, that book. I love that book. It changed the way I look. I was like, I read it this summer and it's like, I need to go back into the classroom this year to do this. But I run a lot of PD that way because it can be very self-directed and flipped.
Right.
And, at any rate, so one of the big part of the hyperdoc cycle is the extend part. So, okay, they're finished and they want to learn more. So we talk about Smarty Pins and we talk about Google a Day in it. So I'm starting my presentation at the extend. So when you come in here, jump into one of these games or Google Feud, which is like Family Feud on Google. I'm going to put those 3 up. So when you come in, they start playing right away and they see, okay, you could do this at the beginning. Like, let them play this. So that was sort of one of the hooks. That was one of the tech hooks that I found pretty fascinating.
Absolutely. And then, yeah, you know what it is for me? So like French immersion grade 1, especially if they're little. So the attention span is really short.
I have a grade 1 FI kid upstairs right now. I totally get it.
Yeah. So like you can imagine, like the attention span is 10 minutes, if that. Mm-hmm. And so to be able to be on it like all the time like that is really exhausting. Yeah. And it's just,
especially
I don't know.
When you have kids of your own at home.
Exactly. So yeah, it can be tough.
Very interesting. What would you commit to then? Like if you were to say, like I said, I'm going to commit to when I run something, I'm going to try to, or not try, I am going to use a hook of some sort, be it right out of Dave's or just cognizant of the fact that I need to get them engaged from the onset. From a classroom perspective, with you guys at 50%, what would you do? Like, how is this reading now? Because that's what's important. Like you read a book, you liked it, you don't put it aside. How is it going to change, modify, make you reflect on your teaching?
Hang on.
I think I'm going to be, because I'm developing a course at the moment. I'm teaching research studies for the first time. So I feel like
I saw that when you entered. When you're done your thought, I want you to explain to me what that course is. I want to know what that is because we don't have that.
So I was thinking I could probably, as we're building it, and it ran for the first time last year, so I'm kind of running it again from another teacher's program. So I can probably developing some hooks in there. So research studies is, it's developed out of the Harvard, our principal went to Harvard for like a principals conference thing over Northern Hemisphere summer. And she brought back all this stuff from Boston Latin School and was like, I love this course. It's about building collaboration, critical thinking. I want you to adapt it for our school as an elective. But 9 going into 10. So the teacher, Ash, did it last year. So she's done year 9 and now she's got them in year 10. So I've taken over year 9 this year.
So what would an activity in that course look like? This is fascinating.
So they're building up like revision of thinking skills. So they did like lots of the Bono's thinking hats, thinkers keys and stuff.
Yeah.
And then this is with a view to next term they take on Project Z, the zombie apocalypse project.
Yeah.
Where they have to survival plan. So they'll be working in small groups for about 10 weeks on that and presenting to the principal, me, my head of department, and 2 younger classes of kids.
Oh my gosh, can I please come in as a guest through Google Hangouts and help give feedback? I would love that. You ask them if you can bring a special guest from Canada. So there's this random Canadian girl I know from the internet. Can I bring her in?
So yeah, it's going to be crazy.
That's exciting. Do you guys know, Rebecca, have you heard of digital breakouts or breakout EDU?
I've seen the hashtag, but I don't know what it is.
Okay, so
do
you have escape rooms in Australia? You know what that is?
No.
So, okay, the essence of an escape room is that they're not done in schools because, well, you'll see why soon. You go into, you and a group of people, either you know or you don't. You go with whomever. You can go with a group of, let's say if it's a 10-person escape room, you go with 10 or you go with 2 and you join 8 other people. And your goal, you're locked literally in a room and you have a certain amount of time to escape using clues around the room. And you have to work together and they're amazing. And you can buy boxes. You can also, so someone did it, said, I need to do this in my classroom, but for, ethical and legal reasons, they can't lock kids in classrooms, fire code and all that stuff.
And safety, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. It's like, why can't I have a campfire in the backyard of my school? I don't get it. Maybe not a campfire inside the classroom where the kids are locked. That I get. So at any rate, what you do instead is they created these boxes, and they're literally like a square box on hinges, and you use a hasp. Do you know what a hasp is? It has like, it locks sort of around, and then it takes 6 locks on it for one lock. And there's a letter lock, there's a direction lock, there's different number locks, and using clues, and some clues are sometimes like taped under tables, and some you have a black light, so you have to find the invisible ink, and some are through QR codes, and you have to escape, or not escape, sorry, you have to break into the box. And usually it's like, oh, there's one called the zombie apocalypse. And so it might be a good way to start that course.
Yeah.
And they have to basically break into this box to find the antidote to stop the zombie apocalypse from happening. You can, on the site, but it's a couple $100. You can build one on your own. That's what I did. I saw it and I was like, I want to do this, and I have no patience. I want to do this tomorrow. So I literally got up at like 6:30 or 6 in the morning, got dressed, like ready to go at 7. My husband's like, where are you going? I was like, I'm going to Walmart. I'll see you tonight. And he's like, what about the kids? I'm like, you'll be fine. Get them to school. I'm out. And I like ran to Walmart. And I pretty much got the whole box together at our Walmart, and then our Canadian Tire, which is a hardware store that we have here in Canada. And for that, instead of a box, you just buy a toolbox that can lock. The only thing I couldn't get was the hasp.
New place to get the hasp, just FYI, if Kim asks you, you can order them from, or you can go to Ackland's Granger, and they have them.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got mine from Amazon. You can also do the whole box from Amazon. But so now you don't want to spend any money, but you want the same. Having the box is amazing because it's so rich in the tactile nature of it. But you can also do it using a Google site. So Google Sites, they're called digital breakout EDUs. I've built one. If you want to try one, it takes about 20 minutes. If you go to bit.ly, so bit.ly /BDAY, so BDAYBO. It stands for.
Kids are coming for lunch. I'm just moving along.
Okay. Bit.ly /BDAYBO. So birthday breakout is what it stands for. And the idea is you're planning your birthday party. You have a list of tasks to do. Can you get them done before your party starts? So they're built on a Google site. And on the Google site, there's a Google form embedded, and you use data validation. So in order to like unlock it, it turns red until you put the right code in. And once you get the right codes, then you click submit, then you've broken out. And that's why you can do them digitally without spending a dime. And they're the breakout.
Totally gonna do that.
Oh my God. You haven't heard of them, Christine? They're amazing.
No, because this is the thing. So I had family math night this year that I organized.
Yeah.
And so we had we had the breakout rooms for the intermediate kids who came. So we ran 2 at the same time. I went and I bought all the stuff, and one of the intermediate teachers ran it. But I didn't know you could do it digitally, so that's awesome. I'm going to try it.
Digitally is amazing because you can use it again and again. And if you go to the Breakout EDU digital site, so if you go to Breakout EDU, they have the sister site. And in fact, it was created by teachers, and then these other teachers were like, we don't have the money, and there was like an 8-week back order, and they want to do it. So like, what if we use sites with data validation? And so they did it, and the Breakout EDU people reached out and said, come with us. And they have hundreds of games. Like my game is actually on there. You create one, you sandbox it, and then you put it on. But it's free, it's great, and it would be really neat for your kids, I'm thinking, Rebecca, because they could try it, and then they could build their own. Yeah. And on the digital Breakout EDU site, they actually have a running list. They have an embedded Google Doc that when people find, hey, this is a neat resource. So here's a like crossword creator, they put it in. Here's an anagram solver, and they put that in. So you don't necessarily have to think of, well, how am I going to do this one? And how am I going to do that one? They have a whole list. So for me, I was like, okay, what's my theme? And then I just went with it. So I have like one part of mine, it's like a fake text message. It's a phone with text going back and forth, and you have to solve, there's clues embedded in that if you look carefully. Yeah. And on the digital ones, there's often a picture. And so you have to take your mouse and put it over and realize all of a sudden it turns into an arrow because one part of the picture is hyperlinked. Absolutely check them out. They are so fun.
Awesome. I didn't know you could do them digitally. They're definitely something to do.
I will, I have a resource that Sylvia Duckworth I don't know. Do you know who Sylvia Duckworth is, Rebecca?
She's a sketch note lady.
That's right. So, yeah, oh my gosh.
That's how she's known now, because she put out her
that's
book,
who she
The
is.
Sketch
Yeah.
Note Lady, right? So.
She's on her way right now. She's on an airplane to Australia. You should find her because Australia's not big. Meet her at the airport.
It's a small country. It's all good.
It's like visiting your friends in Vancouver when you come to see us in Toronto. Anyway, she and I have fostered this. We've never met live, but we have mutual friends and we have this friendship. Anyway, she was putting together, because she's done Breakout EDU digital with her grade 5 students at Crescent School, which is an independent school here in Toronto. And she wanted them to build their own. So she created this whole like step-by-step guide on how to create them, and then sent it to, I'm on a group hangout with them. So sent it to the girls in the group. And then I said, oh, can I use this? Because I'm actually running something on this on the 29th of March. So I took it, I personalized it a bit for us. I took some things out that we wouldn't need as teachers, but the students would need more guidance. And I sort of prettified it. I made it. Hers was the basis, I believe, for a like a slide deck. It was just the script, and I made it all headings and whatever. Anyway, the point of the story is I have this document. I will share it on Twitter with both of you so that you can see how to do it.
Okay.
And it's really cool.
Awesome.
And so Rebecca, so you know too, if you do decide to do the breakout with the boxes and everything, though, is that the Breakout EDU website, you can basically go in and search for all of the resources that you need by grade or topic, and it's literally all done for you. And a lot of the activities have been created by other people, and there's like actual YouTube videos on them going through the entire sequence with you, so you know exactly what you need, where to put it. Like it couldn't be any easier.
Yeah, it's really awesome. And so the password to get into that is like, they say, oh, just submit here. And so I give it away, and people are like, oh, are you supposed to? I'm like, yeah, I know, it's fine. The password is show your work, all lowercase, all one word.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get in, you go to the site, go to learn more, go to games, put in that password, and then you're there. It's awesome. Check it out. Especially if you're developing that course, I think you'll be fun. And a lot of them are just about like leadership and about skill development. They don't have to be on a topic necessarily, because it sounds like yours, which is what I love. That's why I want to know about the course, is a skills-based course. And I see Ontario, like where we are shifting, our province shifting back to skills rather than topics, right? We oscillate. There's that pendulum.
Mm-hmm.
And even, when our new curriculum in secondary was released over the last however many years, 2007, I think was the first one. So 10 years ago, and now they're going through the second phase of them. It was very much like, oh, here's the content we want. And now in this shift, we're shifting back to, here's the skills they need and different ways that we can reach those. And that's what's important to me, because really, I wrote a lot of 5-paragraph essays in my day. And I walked out of my high school and I've never written one since. Mm-hmm. So why are we hammering hamburger paragraphs and 5-paragraph essays? Like, especially in this day and age. I'm taking a course right now about integrating technology into the classroom. And our final project is an inquiry project. We had to do like an action research. And this is actually my action research. That's how this Teacher Book Club came to be. So thanks, guys. You're helping me get credit. Although I'm going to carry it on after the course, because it was something I wanted to do. And I'm about authentic, real, relevant learning for me when I'm taking courses. At any rate, I started this, and I've totally lost my train of thought. Oh, the final project, they're like, create a paper and write a paper and submit it. And it was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not writing a paper for one person, and it's never going to be seen again. So I'm actually going back and forth with my instructor saying, hey, I built the website. I have these Google Hangouts on air. I have our Voxer group. Can I just submit that? Or can I submit that, add a page about why teacher book clubs are important and connecting beyond our own district walls and school walls, whatever. I'll add a page about that, because I think there's validity in that too.
Well, that's more like the reflection too, right? Like this
exactly.
is like the work part of it, and then to have the reflection at the end is important, right? So.
Yeah, and what I want to do, that's sort of more the onboarding stuff. That like, this is why I chose to do it. Here's what I did. But then as my reflective piece, I want to just really do a screencast. Here's my website. Here's what we said in Voxer. Here's what I learned from this person. Oh, look, this person in Australia taught me how to do book snaps that I've wanted to learn for the last few weeks. Like I saw them and I thought, I wonder how they do this.
Right.
I didn't go to someone in my district. I went to someone on the other side of the planet, and I was able to learn that way. So why Why aren't we shifting the paradigms that way for our own learners in our classrooms as well?
Exactly. And so I think that's why oftentimes, especially in French immersive, we always talk about like, are we worried about process or are we worried about product? And when we're talking about product, is the kind of product when we're teaching something like science and social studies that important? Like, do they need to write? No, they don't need to write. They can definitely speak. They can make a presentation, whatever it may be. So giving them choice in that sense. So of course, when I'm teaching writing, I need them to write. But if it's anything else, like, does it really matter?
Yeah, no.
No, as long as you're able to demonstrate your learning, then that's it.
Yeah, and the uniform demonstration of learning is something that really irks me now. That idea that you will all write an essay. Why? Because then only the essay writers are doing well. So I was an okay writer in high school. I was a great orator. I could talk and talk clearly and talk and talk. And I was very confident in front of a group, and I feed off the energy. And sometimes I don't think about things. I'm like, and then it sparks something in me when someone says, oh, and then there's this, oh, well, and I can build on that. And I was much better that way. So had I been given the opportunity to do something like that, I think I would have been even more successful. I did well in school, but imagine what I could have done had I spoken more to my strengths, not only that paradigm of the 3 R's, right?
Absolutely.
I'm gonna have to dash. I am late for book club.
Ironically. Well, okay, then I'm gonna stop the broadcast soon.
Great to chat to you guys.
Yeah, it was really great to meet you, Rebecca. If you do a breakout EDU, send it to me and I'll beta it for you. Like, I'll go through and find any glitches. And I'm serious about wanting to be in on that zombie apocalypse thing. If you want,
awesome.
If you want them to have an authentic audience, like here's someone on the other side of the world, I'm totally in.
Awesome. Cool.
Okay.
I'll speak to you guys soon.
Okay.
How do I get out?
Bye. It's nice to meet
I'm just up at the top. There's a red hang up button.
Oh, got it.
Got it.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.